This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Decals, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by Decals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. Modeling from the Ensign's Chair is proud to partner with Models for Troops, a 501c3 charity that provides model kits, model supplies, and scale model literature to aid disabled and injured veterans suffering from PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and other post-combat related issues. Please visit www.modelsfortroops.com for more information and to find out ways you can contribute, because a model is more than just plastic.
Hey, what's up fellow modelers? Will here. Welcome to Modeling from the Ensign's Chair. This is the final wrap-up video for the 1/1400 scale Enterprise C build. It is all done. It's finished. Took a couple weeks to get this wrapped up. I was a little under the weather last week, so didn't feel much like sitting down here and doing a whole lot with this. But whole lot better now. Got this wrapped up. Everything's done with it. Just want to wrap up with this video and talk about the decals a little bit. A little bit of discrepancy with the kit and the studio model. And there's also some differences between the Yamaguchi, Zhukov, and also the Enterprise C. So just want to talk about that briefly, and then we'll do a quick wrap up and talk about what the next project is. So give me a minute, put you on the bench, we'll get to work. All right guys, so here's the model. It's pretty much complete. There's a couple little details I still got to do. I've got a couple more of these little end pieces that go on the ends of the phaser banks here. So I've got to do those. I've got to finish up a couple of those, and I've got to paint these detailed areas on this back panel here. I got to paint these. Need to be. I'll probably do these the same color as the fog gray, and these got to be gray, a darker gray. So I'll get those painted up, but I want to talk about the decals for a minute, because there's a couple things that are different depending on whether you're doing the Enterprise or you're doing the Yamaguchi. So let's move this back a minute. I got to unplug it. I was doing some light testing. Slide that back a little bit. All right, and let's take a look at these instructions, because one of the things I noticed about these instructions is that it's funny, because when they show the top, they show the actual bottom shot of the pylons going into the tops of the nacelles. So that's kind of awkward, but at any rate, so a couple things to talk about here. There's some decals which I didn't use. This big one here, this number 25, and as far as I know, these are all the same numbers as the kit decals. These are the ones from Gus, though. But this number 25 goes on the belly of the Enterprise. Well, it doesn't. The Enterprise, this decal wasn't present on the Enterprise. It was present on the Zhukov and the Yamaguchi and everything after everything was redone on this model. But on the Enterprise itself, this number 25, this decal here does not go on the Enterprise. So it's up to you whether you want to use it or not, but it's not present on the studio model. Also, these two smaller decals, 26, which go on the tops, and it's funny because the directions don't even indicate that on these directions. Well, that's because these decals, these three decals didn't come with the original because they're not on the Enterprise. So on this, they are not on the Enterprise. They are on the Zukov, Yamaguchi, yada yada, everything after that, but they're not on the Enterprise. So again, up to you whether or not you want to use them. The other thing is too, you look at these Pylon decals, and I've highlighted them here. Now I don't know about the new directions, but on the directions with the original kit, this shows all of these as being Enterprise on both sides. And again, I don't have the directions for the re-release. So anybody that gets a chance to look, please let me know if it's still the same showing on those directions. It's showing Enterprise on the tops and bottom on both sides. That's not correct. By the studio model, you should have, and I've actually done it correct on my model, using a combination of the decals I was able to clean up, plus Gus's decals. So you can see on the port side should be NCC 1701C, and then on the starboard side should be Enterprise, and that's the same for top and bottom. So just a little correction to make there, in case you were looking at doing that. But it's incorrect on these instructions. Again, like I said, I don't know about the updated instructions. Somebody that has the re-release, please let me know. In addition, this decal says 1514 on these instructions. I'm not sure what it is on the re-release, but this little pinstriping that goes under your chiller grills on both sides of your nacelles is only present on the Enterprise C model. It is not present on the Yamaguchi or the Zukov. So if you've got those decals, you do not need to use them on the Zukov or the Yamaguchi unless you want to, but they're not present on that. And let's see, what else did we have? That may have been about it. I'd already mentioned that there are two red decals on the undersides here that are present on the Enterprise C but not present on the Zukov or Yamaguchi. So those were removed when they did the repaint and the rework of the studio model. So they do go on the Yamaguchi, or they do go on the Enterprise, but not on the Yamaguchi or Zukov. Again, unless you choose to use them. It's up to you. So other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I think all the decals are as they're shown on the instructions. Nice that the ones that Gus puts out have the sensor bands, which I've already applied. Have the sensor bands that you can put on, and the coloring, the yellow that comes around the thrusters. So nice to have those. But other than that, I think that's about it for the decals. I just wanted to go over that and make sure everybody understood that there are some of these decals that don't go on the Enterprise, and there's some of these decals that don't go on the Yamaguchi or Zukov. And I think that's it. I think I pretty much covered everything, but if I think of something else, I will bring that up here in closing. So anyway, that's pretty much all the review I need to do with the decals. I need to go and finish painting this part back here. And like I said, I need to finish applying those decals around the phaser strips. And once I do that, this will get its final clear coat, and everything should be blended in at that point. I know there's a couple of spots where it looks a little bit lighter than other areas, and that's because I repainted those and I haven't put a clear coat on it yet. So I'm gonna get a clear coat on this. We'll come back and we'll take a final look at it, and we'll talk about a couple other things as far as some things I would have done differently. There's always something I could have done better, or that I would have done differently with building this model. So we'll talk about that when we come back. So give me a little bit. I'm gonna work on getting this finished up, and we'll come back and take a look. All right, guys, well, here we go. She is all done. All the decals are done, all the painting's done, and the final clear coat has been put on. So she is done and good to go. And I've got a little power switch I put on the box right in the front here. So let's turn her on. And there we go. You can see all the lights lit up. See if we can turn this light out without getting too dark in here. And there we go. She looks pretty good. See, we're going to lay it on the side here a little bit. And you can see all the lights in the front there. Deflector dish. Everything's lit up on it. I notice when I turn this light out, it tends to wash this screen out a bit. Cut that back on. So, anyway, she's all done, and I'm pretty happy with it. I do need to do a little bit of work on balancing this. I think it's a little bit slanted on the mount here, so I may have to do a little work on that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, it's been a long build, guys. A lot. It's taken me a while to get this done, longer than it should have. But I like the way she's turned out. She looks good, and everything lights up nicely. And that base turned out really well. I like the way that's lighting up. And at any rate, guys, so there are, like I said, there are always a couple things that I would have done a little differently when I finished a model. So in this case, a couple of things. I would have done the secondary hull like I did the saucer. I think the saucer turned out way better because when you cut the lights off, all the windows look the same on the saucer. And then when you turn them on, you can definitely see which ones are blacked out and which ones are lit. Now, it works the same on the secondary hull, but it's a little more noticeable with the lights off, which ones are painted black. So what I would have done, well, what I'll do when I go to do my Yamaguchi, what I'm going to do is just mask the windows off because that's a clear version. I don't have to do any of the work like I had to do on this. I had to do a lot of, if you remember, I had to do a lot of drilling open and filling in with the UV resin and then coming back and painting and blacking out and painting again. It'd be a lot easier on the clear version. On that, I would just mask off the windows and leave them masked off, do my painting, my light blocking and my painting, and then come back and just light block on the inside with the tulip like I did on the saucer. I think it looks a lot better that way. So I would have done that differently. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot I would have done differently other than that. It turned out really nice. I probably would have gotten more of the model together before I did any of the painting because I did have to come back and do a lot of touch-up and a lot of repainting. I think definitely put the secondary hull halves together. The saucer wasn't too big of a deal. That went together pretty nicely. So I'm not too worried about that. But definitely the secondary hull, I would have put the two halves together and then painted it because it was just too much touch-up and too much work to come in and have to redo everything. So other than that, though, she turned out really well. And there's not a whole lot I would have changed about it. So anyway, guys, I mean, she's done finally. I can move on to another project. Finally get something else going on. Now, it's going to be a little bit before I get into another project. I do want to finish. I've got the decals are finalized by Gus. Those Aztec decals for the NX01. So I can finally finish up on Brian's NX01 commission build that I've been working on almost a year now. But a lot of that's been working on getting those Aztec decals finessed and getting them ready to go. So I think Gus is working on now breaking those down into some easier to use sections. So, but what I'm going to do is now that I've got everything I need to finish that up, I'm going to finish up Brian's NX01 build and I'll put a final video out on that as well because I haven't done a final video on that. So I'll get that done. I've got a couple of little projects I want to do real quick. And then the next build is going to be the 1/650. Now I'm just going to say what the box says because, and we'll talk about this more when I start that model, but there's a lot of discrepancies in the scale of the bird of prey. But the box says 1/650. So I will be working on that. And let me grab this real quick. Oop, mic's holding me up. So my plan is to do sort of a dual build. Let me turn this off and move this out the way a second so I can show you this. But I'm doing the 1/650 kit, and I'm also printing this big monster. That's the docking ring. This big monster of a bird of prey as well. we'll talk more about this when I go to do it. I don't want to get into it too much right now, but I'm working on printing this up now, and you can see the size of the forward section on the bird of prey there. It's going to be huge. So looking to do a dual build with that. I kind of want to get into some of the 3D printing stuff and take a look at that stuff for those of you that are interested in maybe getting a 3D printer at some point. But at any rate, that's what my next project's going to be. It will probably be, this is mid-February, probably be like I'm thinking the first week of March I should be ready to go on that project and ready to start on it. So give me a little bit of time. I'm going to get a couple projects finished up, and we'll move on to this next project. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something really interesting to get into because I have not worked with 3D printed models before, so it's going to be a new one for me. But it should be fun. So at any rate, keep a watch out for that. Also keep a watch out, like I said, for that wrap-up video for the NX01. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. So just want to say real quick, thank you to all the subscribers, new subscribers, old subscribers. Thank you guys for watching these videos, for leaving comments, and giving me some feedback. I've gotten several emails about things that people have had questions about or comments about, and I always appreciate all the feedback. So thank you guys. Thank you to Gus over at Decals for the awesome decals that he reworked, and those turned out really nice on here. And also thank you to Cass over at Lake Monster Details for providing those nacelle parts that turned out really nice. I've still got the other ones for the Yamaguchi, which I'll build at some point, but it's going to be a while before I get to that. So we'll hold on to that. But I also got some other, I got another part I'm waiting on from Cass to go with that bird of prey kit. So a couple parts on order. That's another reason why it's going to be a little bit before I get into. I've got some stuff on order. I'm waiting for it to come in. So like I said, I think the first week of March is a good period to look for that. So at any rate, guys, thank you again for watching. Keep an eye out for those videos, those other videos that will be coming out. And thank you again. Till next time, keep modeling.